Today we're going to read Horrid Henry. Horrid Henry Gets Rich Quick. If you enjoy this story, please remember to like and subscribe. Horrid Henry Gets Rich Quick. Horrid Henry loved money. He loved counting money. He loved holding money. He loved spending money. There was only one problem. Horrid Henry never had any money. He sat on his bedroom floor and rattled his empty skeleton bank. How his mean parents expected him to get by on 50p a week pocket money, he would never know. It was so unfair. Why should they have all the money when there were so many things he needed? Comic books, Whopper chocolate bars, a new football, more knights for his castle. Horrid Henry looked round the room, scowling. True, his shelves were filled with toys, but nothing he still wanted to play with. "Mom!" screamed Henry. "Stop shouting, Henry," shouted Mum. "If you have something to say, come downstairs and say it." "I need more pocket money," said Henry. "Ralph gets £1 a week." "Different children get different amounts," said Mum. "I think 50p a week is perfectly adequate." "Well, I don't," said Henry. "I'm very happy with my pocket money, Mum," said Perfect Peter. "I always save loads from my 30p. After all, if you look after the pennies, the pounds will look after themselves." "Quite right, Peter," said Mum, smiling. Henry walked slowly past Peter. When Mum wasn't looking, he reached out and grabbed him. He was a giant crab crushing a prawn in his claws. "Ow!" wailed Peter. "Henry pinched me." "I did not," said Henry. "No pocket money for a week, Henry," said Mum. "That's not fair," howled Henry. "I need money." "You'll just have to save more," said Mum. "No," shouted Henry. He hated saving money. "Then you'll have to find a way to earn some money," said Mum. "Earn? Earn money?" Suddenly, Henry had a brilliant, fantastic idea. "Mum, can you set me up a stall? Can I set up a stall and sell some stuff I don't want?" "Like what?" said Mum. "You know, old toys, comics, games, things I don't use anymore," said Henry. Mum hesitated for a moment. She couldn't think of anything wrong with selling off old junk. "All right," said Mum. "Can I help, Henry?" said Peter. "No way," said Henry. "Oh, please," said Peter. "Stop being horrid, Henry, and let Peter help you," said Mum. "Or no stall." "Okay," said Henry, scowling. "You can make the for sale signs." Horrid Henry ran to his bedroom and piled his unwanted jumble into a box. He cleared his shelves of books, his wardrobe of party clothes, and his toy box of puzzles with pieces missing. Then Horrid Henry paused. To make big money, he would definitely need a few more valuable items. Now, where could he find some? Henry crept into Peter's room. He could sell Peter's stamp collection, or his nature kit. Nah, thought Henry. No one would want to buy those boring stuff. Then Henry glanced inside Mum and Dad's room. It was packed with rich pickings. Henry sauntered over to Mum's dressing table. "Look at all that perfume," thought Henry. "She won't miss one bottle." He chose a large crystal bottle with a swan-shaped stopper and packed it into his box. Now, what other jumble could he find? Aha! There was Dad's tennis racket. Dad never played tennis. That racket was just lying there collecting dust when it could go to a much better home. Perfect, thought Henry, adding the racket to his collection. Then He staggered out onto the pavement to set up the display. Horrid Henry surveyed his stall. It was piled high with great bargains. He should make a fortune. But Henry, said Peter, looking up from drawing a sign, that's Dad's tennis racket. Are you sure he wants to sell it? Of course I'm sure, stupid, snapped Henry. If only he could get rid of his horrible brother. Wouldn't life be perfect? Then Horrid Henry looked at Peter. What was it the Romans did with their leftover captives? He thought. He looked again. He thought. Peter, said Henry sweetly, how would you like to earn some money? Oh, yes, said Peter. How? We could sell you as a slave. Perfect Peter thought for a moment. How much would I get? 10 pence, said Henry. Wow, said Peter. That means I'll have £6.47 in my piggy bank. Can I wear a for sale sign? Certainly, said Horrid Henry. He scribbled the for sale sign, £5, then placed the sign round Peter's neck. Now look smart, said Henry. I see some customers coming. What's going on? Said Moody Margaret. Huh? Henry, what are you doing? Said Sour Susan. I'm having a jumble sale, said Henry. Lots of bargains. All the money raised will go to a very good cause. What's that? Said Susan. Children in need, said Henry. I'm a child and I'm certainly in need, so that's true, he thought. Moody Margaret picked up a punctured football. Bargain. This is just a lot of old junk. No, it isn't, said Henry. Look, puzzles, books, perfume, stuffed toys, and a slave. Moody Margaret looked up. I could use a good slave, said Margaret. I'll give you 25p for him. 25p for an excellent slave? He's worth at least £1.50. Make a muscle slave, said Moody Margaret. Perfect Peter made a muscle. Said Margaret. 50p is my final offer. Done, said Horrid Henry. Why had he never thought of selling Peter before? How come I get 10p when I cost 50, said Peter. Shopkeeper's expenses, said Henry. Now run along with your new owner. Business was brisk. Rude Ralph bought some football cards. Sour Susan bought Best Bear and Mum's perfume. Beefy Bert bought a racing car with 3 wheels. Then Aerobic Al jogged by. Cool racket, he said, picking up Dad's racket and giving it a few swings. How much? £10, said Henry. I'll give you 2, said Al. 2? That was more money than Horrid Henry had ever had in his life. He was rich. Done, said Henry. Horrid Henry sat in the sitting room, gazing happily at his stacks of money. £3.12. Boy, would that buy a lot of chocolate. Mum came into the room. Henry, have you seen my new perfume? You know, the one with the swan on top. No, said Henry. Yikes, he never thought she would notice. And where's Peter? Said Mum. I thought he was playing with you. He's gone, said Henry. Mum stared at him. What do you mean, gone? Gone, said Henry, popping a crisp into his mouth. I sold him. You did what? Whispered Mum. Her face was pale. You said I could sell anything I didn't want, and I certainly don't want Peter, so I sold him to Margaret. Mum's jaw dropped. You go straight over to Margaret and buy him back, screamed Mum. You horrid boy, selling your own brother. But I don't want him back, said Henry. No ifs or buts, Henry, screeched Mum. You just get your brother back. I can't afford to buy him, said Henry. If you want him back, you should pay for him. Henry, bellowed Mum. All right, grumbled Henry, getting to his feet. He sighed. What a waste of good money, he thought, climbing over the wall into Margaret's garden. Margaret was laying by the paddling pool. Slave, she ordered. I'm hot. Fan me. Perfect Peter came out of her house carrying a large fan. He started to wave it in Margaret's direction. Faster, slave, said Margaret. Peter fanned faster. Slower, slave, said Margaret. Peter fanned slower. Slave, a cool drink and make it snappy, ordered Margaret. Horrid Henry followed Peter back into the kitchen. Henry, squeaked Peter, have you come to rescue me? No, said Henry. Please, said Peter, I'll do anything. You can have the 10p. The cash register in Henry's head started to swirl. Not enough, said Henry. I'll give you 50p. I'll give you £1. I'll give you £2, said Peter. She's horrible. She's even worse than you. Right. You can stay here forever, said Henry. Sorry, Henry, said Perfect Peter. You're the best brother in the world. I'll give you all my money. Horrid Henry looked as if he was considering this offer. All right, wait here, said Henry. I'll see what I can do. Thank you, Henry, said Peter. Horrid Henry went back into the garden. Where's my drink? Said Margaret. My mum says I have to have Peter back, said Henry. Moody Margaret gazed at him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, said Henry. Well, I don't want to sell him, said Margaret. I paid good money for him. Henry had hoped she'd forgotten that. Okay, here's the 50p, he said. Moody Margaret lay back and closed her eyes. I haven't spent all this time and effort training him just to get my money back, she said. He's worth at least £10 now. Slowly, Henry stuck his hand back into his pocket. 75p, and that's my final offer. Moody Margaret knew a good deal when she was offered one. Okay, she said, give me the money. Reluctantly, Henry paid her, but that still leaves over £2, thought Henry, so I'm well ahead. Then he went in to fetch Peter. You cost me £6, he said. Thank you, Henry, said Peter. I'll pay you as soon as I get home. Whoopee, thought Horrid Henry. I'm super rich. The world is mine. Clink, clank, clink went Henry's heavy pockets as Henry did his money dance. Clink, clank, clink. I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich as I can be, sang Henry. Spend, spend, spend would be his motto from now on. Hello, everyone, called Dad, coming through the front door. What a lovely afternoon. Anyone for tennis?